Hello my friends, here is the most horrific murder that happened, the murderous mother who manipulated the police and came out innocent. Caylee Anthony was a young child when she suffered a horrific murder in 2008. The little girl disappeared in June of that year, when her mother, Casey Anthony, drove her away from the family home in Orlando, Florida. Then, in December, the 2-year-old's body was found in the woods near the house. Her tragic death was classified as a homicide, and America began asking, who killed Caylee Anthony? Since Casey was the last person to see her and Caylee before she disappeared, many believed Casey was responsible for her daughter's death. Although Casey initially claimed that the girl's nanny kidnapped her in June, Casey's story quickly proved to be full of holes. Furthermore, Casey was not the one who reported Caylee missing. It was Casey's mother, Cindy Anthony, who called police in mid-July when she realized her granddaughter had been missing for 31 days. Casey was quickly arrested and declared a person of contact in the case. Numerous lies the 22-year-old single mother told police, including a fake job she claimed to have, were exposed, and it was immediately clear there was more to the story about the alleged nanny responsible. It wasn't long until Casey Anthony was charged with murder before her daughter's body was even found. What followed in 2011 was one of the most famous trials in modern American history, ending in the unexpected acquittal of Casey Anthony. However, many are still convinced that Casey Anthony is responsible for Caylee Anthony's death. Sadly, in all the controversy, the tragic story of the child herself is often overlooked. The disappearance of Caylee Anthony. Caylee Marie Anthony was born on August 9, 2005 in Orlando, Florida. Her mother Casey, who was 19 at the time, supposedly denied her pregnancy for several months, and the identity of the girl's father remains uncertain. However, Caylee seems to have a happy start in life. She lived with her mother, grandmother, and grandfather, Cindy and George, in a beautiful house. But on June 16, 2008, Casey drove away with Caylee from Anthony's house after some sort of domestic dispute, according to biography. At first, Cindy and George hoped their daughter would soon return home to reconcile after she had calmed down. Worryingly, weeks began to pass with no sign of Casey or Caylee. On July 15, Cindy and George discovered that the car Casey was driving had been impounded. When they received the car, they were shocked by the horrific stench inside. That same day, Cindy was finally able to locate her daughter, and she was angry that her granddaughter wasn't with her. Cindy then made several 911 calls, reporting Caylee missing and also claiming that Casey should be arrested for car theft and money theft. Cindy's calls become more desperate as she speaks to Casey, who reveals that Caylee has been missing for 31 days. According to 10 News, during one of these urgent calls, Cindy told the 911 operator, "Something is wrong. I received my daughter's car today and it looks like there is a rotting corpse in the car." The next day, Casey Anthony was arrested. How Casey Anthony became the prime suspect in Caylee's disappearance. Turns out Anthony's car wasn't the only thing that was giving off a bad smell. Authorities were suspicious of Casey Anthony from the beginning. Caylee was not reported missing for a month, but she also told a suspicious story about her nanny, Zenaida "Zanny" Fernandez-Gonzalez. According to Casey, Fernandez-Gonzalez was the last person with Caylee, so she must have been the one who kidnapped her. But according to the Palm Beach Post, the nanny's apartment where Casey claimed to live has been vacant for months. Casey is not known to have visited that apartment. It was later learned that Fernandez-Gonzalez was a real person, but she denied having met anyone in Anthony's family. However, Casey led police on a manhunt to search this apartment and other places in hopes of finding clues about Caylee's whereabouts. In addition to Casey lying about the nanny, police discovered that she also lied about a job she had at Universal Studios. On July 16, 2008, she was arrested on charges of lying to police, interfering with an investigation, and child neglect. A few days later, Casey was named a suspect in Caylee Anthony's disappearance, according to ABC News. Turns out Anthony's car wasn't the only thing that was giving off a bad smell. Authorities were suspicious of Casey Anthony from the beginning. Kaylee was not reported missing for a month, but she also told a suspicious story about her nanny, Zenaida "Zanny" Fernandez-Gonzalez. According to Casey, Fernandez-Gonzalez was the last person with Kaylee, so she must have been the one who kidnapped her. But according to the Palm Beach Post, the nanny's apartment where Casey claimed to live has been vacant for months. Casey is not known to have visited that apartment. It was later learned that Fernandez-Gonzalez was a real person, but she denied having met anyone in Anthony's family. However, Casey led police on a manhunt to search this apartment and other places in hopes of finding clues about Kaylee's whereabouts. In addition to Casey lying about the nanny, police discovered that she also lied about a job she had at Universal Studios. On July 16, 2008, she was arrested on charges of lying to police, interfering with an investigation, and child neglect. A few days later, Casey was named a suspect in Kaylee Anthony's disappearance, according to ABC News. The Casey Anthony trial and the media uproar. Casey Anthony's trial for murder began on May 24, 2011. It seemed like the entire nation was following the case as many surprises were thrown up. The allegations quickly painted Casey as a party girl with no interest in being a mother, saying she spent the month Kaylee went missing going out on the town, drinking alcohol and enjoying life. According to the Daily Mail, she participated in late-night parties, visited bars, and even participated in a "sexy body" contest at one point. She also got a new tattoo that reads, Bella Vita, which is Italian for, beautiful life. As for the defense, they made a truly horrific claim, that Kaylee had tragically drowned in the Anthony family pool, and Kaylee's father George had tried to cover up the little girl's death. According to CNN, the defense also claimed that George had been sexually abusing Casey since she was young, which explains why Casey lied so much, to hide her inner pain. George denied the sexual assault accusations, and also denied knowing anything about the alleged drowning death of his granddaughter. The court lasted for 6 weeks, with twists and turns at every step. For example, authorities revealed that someone at Anthony's home searched for chloroform on the computer shortly before Kaylee disappeared. At first, this seemed like a winning move for prosecutors, as they believed Casey used chloroform to sedate her daughter before suffocating her. But Cindy came out during court and said that she was the one who had searched for chloroform, intending to search for chlorophyll, according to the Christian Science Monitor. At the end of the trial, it was clear that the allegations relied on emphasizing Casey Anthony's supposed lack of morals to link her to the murder of Kaylee Anthony. Although they tried to find more solid evidence of her guilt, they were unable to uncover any forensic evidence or witnesses linking her to Kaylee Anthony's remains, according to E! News. They were also unable to definitively locate the child's body in the trunk of Casey's car, as they believed she had hidden the remains before disposing of them. And perhaps most importantly, it was still unclear exactly how Kaylee Anthony died. However, prosecutors felt confident that Casey's habit of lying, her disturbing behavior after her daughter's supposed disappearance, and circumstantial evidence would be enough to convince the jury of her guilt. But they were wrong. On July 5, 2011, Casey Anthony was found not guilty of murder, child abuse, and manslaughter of a child. She was only found guilty of 4 counts of lying to police, all minor offenses. Although she was fined and sentenced to 4 years in prison, she received time credit and was released on July 17, angering many Americans. According to a USA Today/Gallup poll, 64% of Americans believe Casey Anthony definitely, or probably, killed her daughter, Kaylee. Women were more likely to believe Casey was definitely guilty of murder, and 27% of women were angry about Casey's acquittal, compared to just 9% of men. But ultimately, the jury didn't feel certain enough about her conviction. After the trial ended, an anonymous jury member spoke to People about the verdict. Overall, none of us liked Casey Anthony at all. She seems like a terrible person. But the prosecutor did not provide us with sufficient evidence to convict her. However, the same jury member 10 years later expressed remorse for his decision, especially when thinking about Kaylee Anthony, the tragic victim in the case who never made it to her third birthday. He admitted, "Every time I see her face or hear her name, I feel nauseous. Everything goes back to memory. I think of those pictures of the little girl's remains that they showed us in court. I remember Casey. I even remember the smell of the courtroom." As for Casey Anthony, she doesn't seem interested at all. Although she is aware that most people still believe that she was the one who killed Kaylee Anthony, she insisted that she did not do what she was accused of in an interview she gave to the famous press agency in 2017, and this is her first interview since the famous court, she said. "I don't care what they think of me. I never did that," she added. "I feel comfortable inside. I close my eyes in peace." At the end of the video, do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell and share your opinions on this story.